welcome back to the Book Connection. I am Catalina as always, and today we are going to go over my November TBR. I did record this on the 1st of November, however I'm not posting it until a little bit later. Again, it's my bad, I'm a little behind, but that's okay. So, I have 4 books today to go over with you. I was going to pick 5, but I didn't want to put too much on my plate just because of the holiday season, and it does get pretty hectic. So I've only picked 4. Who knows what I'll read on Kindle Unlimited, but these are my 4 physical copies that I have that I want to read this month. The first one, I actually would just want to finish because I started it, as you can see by my little bookmark, but I haven't finished it. So, yeah, I'm about halfway through. I'm through a pretty good chunk of it. It's a good book so far, I just haven't read it, which... it's not like I haven't been reading, I just haven't finished this one. And that is obviously from Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and she has so many books. I do like her writing, and I do like her writing style, at least so far, so I am excited to read her other books, but it's funny because I know that I need more in the series, but every time I go to look for it, I can never remember the titles, because all of her titles sound so similar. And her covers are super similar. That's just a little thing that I keep noticing with her books, is that it seems like it's all part of the same, series, but it's not. Part of it is just, it is similar, or it's in the same world. So, I understand that, having, a similar cover, but please make the names a little different. But that's okay. Again, I like it so far, and this one, I should probably tell you what it's about. It's about the maiden Poppy, who is not allowed to touch people or talk to people except a very select, chosen few. And she's about to ascend, which means that she's essentially... I look at it as kind of like a graduation, but you're graduating to something that you don't want to do. That actually just sounds like college. Anyway, yeah, so she's going to ascend soon, and she's super nervous about it, and she's not even sure if she wants to do it. And there are these supernatural attacks happening, and they're getting more and more frequent. They've built a wall around their little city, and outside of the wall is these creatures and these supernatural things. And the attacks, like I said, they're getting more and more frequent, and her original guard dies, which is sad because I did like him. So she gets a new guard named Hawk, and he's very mysterious. You're not really sure what to think of him immediately. You kind of just know bits and pieces of what's been heard around, the little court thing, the little castle they're in, but you don't know if any of it's true or if people are just spreading rumors because they can. So she doesn't quite fully trust him, but as these supernatural attacks keep getting more and more frequent, she learns that she's gonna have to. And being about halfway through the book, you can definitely tell there's gonna be a romance. It's kind of expected when you mention a specific character like that in the blurb too. But as you know, on this channel, we're absolutely here for romance, so I am excited for this. I do think that it is a spicy book, so I would not classify it as YA, but rather NA, which is new adult, just for that reason. If you do pick this book up, just know that it is going to have some of that in it. So that's the first one. I just want to finish it. The next one I just got it in October. You can see that in my October book haul and wrap up. And that is How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. Again, this one just follows Cardan from The Cruel Prince from his youth and as he grows up and becomes the character that we know and for most people love. So again, it's just a short little read. I didn't want to pick anything too extravagant just because of the holiday season, but this one looks super quick. I know I could finish this in just a couple hours, so I am looking forward to reading this. I really think Cardan was an interesting character in The Cruel Prince, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of made him that character. The next one is House of Roots and Ruin. This is a sequel but not sequel from the House of Salt and Sorrows. I did read this, obviously I read House of Salt and Sorrows a little while ago, and it is based on the 12 Dancing Princesses, and it's really a fun story, specifically the House of Salt and Sorrows. I did read it as a standalone, So this was a surprise for me, and it's one that I am very happy about. I'm very excited to read this. And of course I had to get the Barnes & Noble Pretty Edition that has sprayed edges. The sister that we read about in House of Salt and Sorrows obviously left Highmore Manor, but this one is about the sisters that remain, and that is Verity and Camille. So the protagonist in this one is Verity. She realizes that she's still cursed. She's still seeing ghosts. So she flees from Highmore Manor to go to, I think it's pronounced Bloem. I'm not entirely sure though. It's a realistic fantasy, so I think it's pronounced Bloem. I'm not entirely sure. It might just be Bloom. Who knows? It's a fantasy. You know, where you just kind of make random letters in your head when you're reading. So she flees to Bloem, wherever, and she meets Alexander, who is of course a charming boy, and she starts to have nightmares again, and she realizes that maybe this place that she's fled to has its own dark secrets. And so the story kind of goes with that. It follows Verity and her fleeing to this place and, of course, meeting the boy. Little romance, we have to have it. And as they just kind of uncover these dark secrets about the town that she just fled to. And so, sounds very interesting. I loved the first one. I'm sure I will love this one. So I'm very excited to read this. The last one I have is by Carrie Maniscalco, and that is one of her newer series, Kingdom of the Wicked. I loved her Stalking Jack the Ripper series, so it still follows what Maniscalco likes to write, which I love. I love a good Victorian, so very excited to read this one. But this one that follows Emily, who is a witch, and she is in the city of Palermo, and she and her family actually run a restaurant, which is interesting for me because you don't really see restaurant owners in fantasies. So this is exciting for me. And along with her other book, it is kind of like a realistic fantasy. So that's an interesting thing, and I love to see that as well. So it just kind of follows Emily as she is helping her family with the restaurant, and everything seems pretty normal, or at least as normal as it can be when you're a witch hiding your powers from the general public. But then things get weird, and they get crazy when she finds her twin sister dead with her body horribly mutilated. So it kind of goes on another murder mystery, I'll say, but still has that fantasy aspect of her being a witch and everything like that. So I'm sure we're going to learn why she's dead. I mean, obviously, I hope you're going to find that out, but I hope to go further into like the witch world of this book and see how it plays, because I love seeing fantasies in the 19th century because it is so interesting and how people can be creative with what they think of and unique. And so I'm really excited to read that. And again, I have so much faith in this because of her Stalking Jack the Ripper series. So I know she can do a murder mystery really well, and I know she can write the 19th century really well. So I don't think this one's going to be bad at all, and I'm very excited to read it. Those are the 4 books that I want to read during November. Who knows if I will pick one up on my Kindle. If I do, I will let you know in the November wrap-up, of course. And I am a mood reader as well, so any of you mood readers know that picking out a TBR does not always work. So I hope I read them. I'm very excited to read them. They all sound so interesting, but it's me. So I might read 4 completely different books and still leave From Blood and Ash unread. Again, that is all I have for you for this video, and I will connect with you all in the next one. Bye!